Hey, all you Gretas and Sheetas cats out there. Welcome to APES Notes, Unit 3, Section 2, Life History Strategies. So, let's move me up here. Life history, and we're starting on page 6 of your notes in your packet. Life history is the series of events from birth through reproduction and death. So eggs, embryo, the little tadpoles, the little baby frogs, young frog, adult frog, whole process. So when you're talking about life history, that's the whole kit and caboodle. So we have different our life history strategies are: one, shaped by evolution, the best things, which operates through natural selection. So think back to survival of the fittest, whatever works best for the critter in question. And then are adapted for the specific environment. So keep those three things in mind when thinking about the different life history strategies that we're going to get into. So they're going to influence the growth rate of a population, which makes sense. One, the age at first reproduction. If you're a critter, some critters can make babies when they're like a month old. We wait till puberty. So that's definitely different. Number of offspring. Are you making one or two at a time? Or are you making 30, 40, 50? Are you making a few thousand? So that's one of the issues. Amount of parental care giving to offspring. And I will talk more about this. Do you care about you have a baby? Are you taking care of them? Or you just laid eggs and you left them somewhere? And then energy cost of reproduction. How much does it cost to, say, lay an egg versus grow a baby inside of you? Definitely different things. And there goes a bell. So there's that. Moving on. So we have two main patterns of reproduction. The first one is called R selection. This, and I would definitely be writing down the yellow parts of this. So the energy is more into reproduction, not survival. So these things, they're not really good competitors. They're just kind of like surviving. These are opportunists. So they take advantage of favorable conditions and changes in the environment. Whatever works the best is what they will do. They're fairly laid back and they can handle a wide range of food and environmental conditions. They just take what works the best. When those favorable conditions are gone, their populations may crash, and that makes sense. And these populations go through various irregular or unstable cycles. You'll have a whole lot one year, you won't have a lot the next year, and that's just kind of how these guys work. So that is our selected species. And we have characteristics of these guys, and this is on to page 7. They tend to be small-bodied, tiny little things. Think bugs, fish, are the big ones, bacteria. Hey, let's move me down here. They reproduce when they're young. They make many offspring with a low survival rate. So think of Nemo's brothers and sisters. There were a lot of eggs laid, but Nemo was the only one who made it. I don't know how old Marlin and Coral were. Some bacteria can start making babies. Well, some bacteria reproduce every 20 minutes, so that's really fast. But a lot of smaller critters can reproduce within the first year of life, if not the first month of life. So they reproduce, they make a lot of babies. There's little to no parental care. So usually eggs are laid and they just kind of leave them somewhere. If you came across, say, frog eggs in a pond, the mom frog isn't watching them. She's laid them, she's moved on. They grow exponentially. So that population, because there are so many babies, they can grow really fast. And they often exist in unpredictable environments because they can kind of go with the flow. So they are often found there. And they are controlled by density independent factors. So these are things that matter more when you have a high population density and less when you have a low population density. So things like disease, predation, competition, all is going to be up and a controlling factor of these populations. Come here. I'll put myself over here. They also exhibit type 3 survivorship curve, and we'll look a little bit more at that in a minute. So these are your R strategists. And the R is R is exponential growth. And so if you think of a graph with exponential growth, that's how these guys, their populations go. Then, so here we have some examples, things like bacteria, algae, most annual plants. things that only grow once, so you have to plant it every year. Dandelions, they get a lot of seeds. Most insects, look at the little bugs, little cockroaches. Hey, there you go. Apparently they're not most insects. Rodents, oysters, that's a very random example. All these things, and like I said, most fish and many amphibians are this way as well. They make lots of babies. They don't really care about them. You're never going to see like a cockroach mom caring about the cockroach babies. Then you have, these guys are cute. Look at these guys chilling in the background. And then, Mom, look at me. So K-selected are a little bit different. So they put energy into long-term survival. So they don't make as many babies, but they're going to like kind of care about the ones that they make. So very high parental care. So penguins, humans, very good competitors. They will compete for what they need, and then they win, hopefully. They thrive best in ecosystems with fairly consistent environmental conditions. So if everything is about the same and they know what to expect, they tend to do fairly well. K represents carrying capacity, and these critters do best when their populations are close to carrying capacity. Hey, look, it's the next thing I said. Populations remain close to carrying capacity, which is abbreviated by K. I don't know why, I didn't make it up, over long periods of time. So characteristics, we're just going to give you all of them. So these tend to be larger bodied things. So penguins aren't. Most of the primates out there, lions, tigers, the big cats. Elephants are another example, so larger things. Late reproduction. So we don't reproduce until puberty at earliest. So we're, 12, 13, 14 when you're even able to have a child, and hopefully a little bit later than that before you actually get started. Much fewer offspring. You have 1 to 2 at a time, usually just one. But because you're taking care of them with that high parental care, most of them are going to survive. They tend to live in predictable environments. Like I said, you want environments where you know what to expect. Controlled by, recording on Friday never works well. Controlled by density-dependent factors as well. So things like competition and predation and disease can also control these guys. And they exhibit a type 1 survivorship curve, which I will show you in just a minute. So oysters are an example of very R strategy. 500 million fertilized eggs a year. Whew, not so much. No parental care. I don't care what cartoons have taught you. Oysters don't care about their babies. And then apes, a very K strategy, 1 infant every 5 or 6 years, and a lot of parental care. Watching videos of these guys take care of their babies is really sweet. Go play on YouTube. So examples, humans, very large trees, polar bears, elephants, most mammals and birds do a decent job of taking care of their babies. So here are the survivorship curves that we're going to do a lab this week on this. So here is humans would be a type 1 survivorship curve. So most of us live until an old age, and then we tend to die off fairly quickly. Things like coral have a steady rate of death. I don't know why, they just do. But then plants would be, so this is your K strategist, this is a type 1, and then our strategists are the type 3. So these are your bugs, your bacteria, and plants. So early on, most of them die, and then a few of them live to old age. So we have survived section 2 of your notes. Before I leave, I just want to let each and every one of you know that you are good enough, you are smart enough, and people do like you. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good God, do your homework.